Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Ron Mars. You are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
No evil shall escape my sight.
but those who worship evil's might.
beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. I am Phil. Joining me as always, Master of the Core it is.
I am Will. Hey, everyone.
And this time we'll be covering, well, it's the penultimate episode before Will's favorite. But yes, this week we'll be covering JSA 60 through 62. Pretty much our last glimpse of Hal as the Spectre before, well, what happens next week.
Exactly.
Our last episode of our last episode ever where Hal Jordan is not a Green Lantern. well, unless we covered the old stuff where, John takes over. But yes.
Well, I mean, even in the newer stuff, they have to drop their Green Lantern rings for a while. So Hal goes yellow and John, and Guy goes, yeah. So
I feel like we're on the verge of a new era. Next week we'll start,
it kind of seems that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Things kind of explode. I mean, because for the longest while here, we did the Guy Gardner series and we did Mosaic and, but then we kind of pared down the one book and now we're about to explode again here pretty soon.
Exactly. We even did Dark Stars.
Oh, yes. We did some of those, yes. All right. So, what's the news? What's news?
There was a Green Lantern preview of Green Lantern #1 released.
Oh, nice.
And let's see. I'll send you the link, but it says the opening page is kind of like a static Star Wars crawl. It says it is a time of radical change in the galaxy. The Guardians of Oa have disappeared, and in their absence, the United Planets have seized control of the Green Lantern Corps. In a shocking decree, the United Planets have declared Sector 2814 an unsafe liability to the universe and have reassigned the Earth Lanterns to other sectors. The true motivation behind this hostility remains a mystery. Furious at this turn of events, one Lantern has quit in protest, returning to Earth to start his life anew. Green Lantern, back on Earth. Writer Jeremy Adams, artist and cover artist Zermanico, colorist Romulo Fajardo Jr. Letterer is Dave Sharp, who's an awesome letterer, by the way.
Hey. Friend of the show, Jeremy Adams.
Sorry, yes, you're right. Yep. My apologies.
Podcast.
Hold on there.
This is Jeremy Adams, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
We have proof.
Yeah, I do have proof. Variant cover artists are Ivan Rice and Marcelo Maiolo, Lucio Perillo, Daniel Sampier, and Alejandro Sanchez, Ariel Colon, and Pete Woods. So, and then we've got 3 pages of Hal, and then 3 pages of John. And it looks like it's the first 3 pages of each of their stories. So, but that was released, I think, Friday or Saturday, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But it looks beautiful, and it's by friend of the show.
This is Jeremy Adams, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
So I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, did you see they're doing? I guess I saw. I don't know if it's just one store or all of them, but I guess some stores are offering the lantern rings once again when you buy issue 1. I guess
That's right. Yep, I'm gonna have to get me some of those because I have most of the others. I think at least one of the others.
Oh, I'm looking at the variant covers here. There's like it looks like 6 regular variant covers, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 other ones with like it's just the symbol of each lantern core.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Including the black one, yes. But yeah, it's just each lantern logo. Yeah. So
Let's see.
I was looking for that preview to put the share, but yeah, I just
Oh,
saw.
I basically just went to. It's on Reddit, so
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, you find a lot of your stuff on Reddit.
it's got some cool stuff. I am a bit of a. Here, I'll put this in the private chat, and there's lots of cool stuff on there, like reading orders and
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you did turn me on some of the reading orders there. Yeah, okay, I see the one with the scroll. Let's see. Oh, I like
Yeah,
I like how come swooping in. I like that.
yep, me too. Oh, and there was something, I think it was maybe Comic Book Resources that said, hey, the 10 bet, clickbait type thing, the 10 best constructs of Green Lantern constructs. So I went in there and okay, first off, I was not expecting there to be a giant boxing glove, but there should have been. So I'm just going to let that go. But there should have been Kyle's construct of the giant safe that he put around Solaris to keep it from going supernova, right?
Oh,
Containing
yeah.
that. Wasn't in there. So,
I mean, just for no other reason, practical reasons. It's like, yeah, it contained the supernova.
kind of a big deal.
I mean, yes, this is big news in our Green Lantern world, but I almost feel like I'm teasing Will here by talking about all this. Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Look at that. That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
So, I mean, I'm sure Jeremy Adams will let us know, like in the book and stuff. But I'm just like, so the Guardians assign all the Earth Green Lanterns to other sectors, but Hal
Not the
quits. But they let
yeah.
him keep his ring, though.
Well, but not the Guardians. Remember, the Guardians have disappeared. It's
Mm,
the what is it? Not the
the
United Planets.
yeah.
United Planets has taken control of the Green Lantern Corps. And I do remember them, seeing something somewhere about a Green Lantern having to hotwire a ring to get home. I'm assuming that might be a certain Green Lantern that has problems with authority. I don't know who that might be.
In a man who's forged his own ring before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy that, again, lots of people have a lot of hate for the Thorn Run, and I don't have a lot of hate for it, but there's a lot of things that I don't like about it. One of the things that I do really like is that Hal's ring is now just a normal ring. The things that he does with it are not because it's special; it's because he can do it, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
But yes, definitely looking forward to that. That's so that's coming out on the what?
I think it's because I thought I remember us saying we weren't going to have it next week when we do Rebirth. So I'm thinking, I think in 2 weeks maybe. It might be 2 weeks from today maybe.
Let's see.
Because we are recording on Tuesday, kids.
I'm not seeing it here when they.
Hold on. I'll get you a title here. Here we go. League of Comic Geeks. May 9th.
May 9th. All right, awesome. Which is
that would be 2 weeks from today. So
yeah, that is excellent news. Excellent news. You know what else happens that week?
What?
On May 12th, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh.
That's gonna be a good week. A really good week.
Will's like, I thought Christmas was in December.
But it's actually in May. Nice.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that. So yeah, well, next week we'll do Rebirth. The week after we'll have Green Lantern #1 to review along with our older stuff, and then you get your Zelda. Nice.
Oh, and speaking of stuff to talk about, Picard. Holy crap!
What?
Holy crap! Nice. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was extraordinarily well done. Very happy about it. Very happy about it. There's one.
I saw the internet comparing that last run to like, oh look, they're gonna blow up the Death Star. I'm like, don't you dare.
I do like the parking scene, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Looking up and like,
looking up at the ship, yeah. And what did you think of the like the mid-credit scene afterwards?
Interesting. Yeah, I like that he
when
said,
Jack meets a certain old friend of his father's.
Yes.
Friend. I'm like, I knew he didn't die.
Well, I think he did. But what is, because he told him you're thinking too linearly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Now we're gonna play with the fact where it's like every appearance he's ever made. It's like, yeah, the order we saw him in wasn't the order he saw him.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
wait 6 months, kids. We'll have the internet all arguing over, which appearance of who appeared in what order.
Exactly.
But I hope they do like everyone says they hope we get a legacy show because they kind of set that up at the end there.
I mean, they really did. I mean, I think that was the whole point of that. The last scene plus the mid-credit scene was to set up the legacy show.
Oh yeah, the new captain. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And again, we need more Voyager and Deep Space Nine people in here. Come on.
Yeah, it was nice that a certain character was not dead.
Oh yeah. That's what I was like. Oh, it's like the final season. I'm like, someone could die, but I'm like, yeah, they probably don't want to do that. One, they want to give everyone a happy ending, and two, it's like, well, we could still bring these characters back somewhere. It's in some forms down the line, but
well, they really raised the stakes with the first death that they had.
Oh yeah.
That was a big deal, and then also with the second death, because she was there for best of both worlds. She was Riker's #1 during that. So, I thought they did it. And then, there was the Chekhov's son thing, and so because he was the president of Earth, you heard him, signaling. Yeah. Anyway, excellent episode.
Yeah, I did see an article today, I think, that they wanted to get Robert Duncan McNeil, who played Tom Paris, in here at some point. Not even this season; it might have even been last season too. Either to direct or act, and I guess scheduling didn't allow it. But again, once again, the internet in their internet way was like, "Well, who's he going to appear as? Tom Paris or Nick Locarno?" And if you have not listened to the podcast, he and Garrett Wong, who played Harry Kim, do a podcast where they go through every episode of Voyager. Very good.
Excellent. Yes. That's about all I've got. Oh wait, launched the Kickstarter today.
Yes,
that's fun.
For the collection, for the first 4 issues collected. Yes.
Yep. The hardcover for Crossover Division. Volume 1, the first 4 issues with a bonus 8-page story in it. So I always get nervous when I launch because it's nerve-wracking. But we're doing it's going well so far. So I'm very pleased, and thanks to everybody that's back. So it's been awesome so far.
Come on, people! This man gives you free entertainment at least twice a week. Come on, pay him back.
Were you not entertained? Sorry, I love that quote.
All right, what are we
Uh,
doing tonight, Guy Gardner? Why don't we get to these issues?
I was well. First off, we know who the writer of these issues is, right?
And I was going to say, and yes, I mean a little sampling of our upcoming the writer we'll be
Uh-huh.
covering for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started because there's some good stuff in here. There's some kind of a little bit of annoying stuff I think for you and I, which we'll talk about. But
Yeah. All right, so yes, today, like I said, we're covering JSA 60 through 62. So yes, we'll start with JSA number 60, June 2004, Redemption Lost, Part 1. Writer, of course, Jeff Johns.
Mhm.
Penciler, Don Kramer. Inker, Keith Champagne. Colorist, Hi-Fi Design. Letterer, Rob Lee. And editors, Peter Tomasi and Stephen Wacker.
Oh, we also get Tom Mandrake doing the art in like the first few pages, I think, of this
Oh,
one, and
yeah.
later on.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, they don't have them credited here, but yeah.
Because
All right.
that Spectre series by Ostrander and Mandrake is
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
All right. So I don't think this synopsis, yeah, it's not too bad. All right. In 1953, a man interrupts a Christian religious service begging forgiveness and is followed by the Spectre, who reveals that the man is Spirit King and the spirit of vengeance damns him to hell just as Mr. Terrific arrives, demanding that the villain face human justice. In the present day, Ice Sickle assists Dr. Midnight in a post mortem. Elsewhere, Rex Tyler, Hourman, and a few Justice Society members encounter Ragdoll and free several children he had abducted. Hourman heads off to find Simple Simon based on a tip. His fellow heroes encourage him to take it easy, but he takes a second Miracolo dose and runs off. At the same church from decades before, the Spectre condemns another murderer to hell. In the JSA Museum, Ma Hunkel leads a group of children on a tour while the Atom and Mr. Terrific try to find a way to extract Rick Tyler from Time Point, successfully sending a T-sphere into the time stream. The JSA goes to Portsmouth to help Dr. Midnight investigate a series of murders, and Midnight takes an opportunity to pray at the nearby church where he and Mr. Terrific discuss the drug-related crime in his city and the nature of faith. The Spectre interrupts the two and drops to the floor where he cries souls from his ethereal body as he has focused on redemption rather than vengeance. His grip on damned souls has loosened and the Spirit King reappears. So yeah, kids, that happened.
That totally happened.
All right, so thoughts, William?
I thought this was a pretty good issue.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember if I'd read this originally or not, but it does set up why the Spectre is as we see him in Rebirth. Back to being the spirit of vengeance. Now, you and I, of course, both, I think, really love J.M.D. Mateus' Spectre series
Yeah.
because it was so amazing. These three issues are really a way for, I think, Johns to reset the Spectre, because I thought it was just ignored. I didn't realize that this
Yeah.
was so it's explained, which is great.
And again, it helps. It's the guy who's going to do Rebirth, so it's like
Yeah.
I think this is his way of saying, it's easier to separate Hal from the Spectre if there's a little bit of turmoil there, rather than they get along hunky dory.
They're like this, yeah.
Or is this? I mean, again, this is Jeff Johns writing this, so is it in the back of his head? Oh, hey, Parallax is in there. Maybe not the fully fleshed out idea, but it's just like, oh, hey, there's something in there that's going to explain why Hal went nuts. And
well, yeah, and I think that in this, not in this issue, but in one of the next two issues, Hal even says there's something, because I think Johns wrote this as a bit of a prequel to, Rebirth, because I think he knew exactly what he was doing here. And Hal says there's something that won't let me. Later on, and I think that's just John saying, "Yep, I know what it is. It's the green fear bug."
And again,
But I'm not
this is only months before Rebirth, so I mean,
exactly.
he
So,
has to have at least a glimmer of an idea what he's going to do in Rebirth. So
oh yeah, and and if you'll remember, Rebirth had been started worked on like a year before. So
yes,
I really think that this is just setting that up so that it resets to default the Spectre.
yeah.
And it gets him to a point because and we'll get there next week,
Uh-huh.
where he deals out Spectre brand justice to Black Hand, right?
Oh yeah, Black. Oh yes. Oh, I'm excited for next week. I cannot imagine how excited you are. I know I'm excited for next. Yeah, some old school justice.
Oh yeah, like turning his hand to
Uh-huh.
ash. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely old school.
Oh,
So.
just wait. It's gonna be horrible next week. When I have to hand it to the Spectre.
But yeah, this really felt like a. Well, first off, it's good. It's a really good story. I mean, it's well done. We've got Tom Mandrake art. We've got who was the other artist? Dan.
Oh,
Uh,
here I got it right here. Dawn Kramer.
Don Kramer. Yeah, which is both good art, both really good artists.
Oh yeah.
So and story's good, the art's good, but the kind of the meta reason for this story, I think, is to totally reset the Spectre.
Yeah.
And get the Spectre part, and we preview a little bit, we foreshadow with there's something that won't let me get control of the Spectre, and that's obviously going to be Parallax. But I feel like this was a good reset, and and it's the story's also dealing with the theme of faith, and it brings up an interesting point. How can anybody in the DC universe not believe in God? Because Spectre, ghosts, hell, demons. I mean, it's like every other. It's like a Thursday in the DC universe, right? Hell invades and
I
stuff
mean,
happens.
at least if you're a superhero, how do you not believe? I mean, we've done
Yeah,
Underworld Unleashed. Neuron's basically the devil. Well, one of the
yeah.
devils.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, what was that other one we just? Oh, what's the name of that?
Day of
Day of Judgment.
Day of
Yes, when
Day of
Hal gets
Judgment.
bonded to the Spectre. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
they
So
literally went
yeah,
to heaven and hell.
literally. So yeah, I mean, that's you kind of have to take a take that as it comes.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, hey, not to go too far off the track, but are you watching this season of Titans? It's
no.
okay.
The first season was I just it was
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah.
Oh, but
I
no,
just I mean
but no, it's but this last week's was so funny because it's like Beast Boy's like traveling through the red, basically, seeing like alternate dimension, like he sees Grant Gustin's Flash run by and stuff, and they actually filmed the scene with like him and Stargirl. But guess who looks at him through a portal?
oh.
Grant Morrison
Okay.
says, "I see you."
Which is a callback to his awesome Animal Man. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, then and then at the end of the episode, spoilers. Yeah, Beast Boy like drops in on the. Well, we see Cyborg from the Doom Patrol show, so I'm like, Doom Patrol. Yeah, that's a Grant Morrison too. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The reboot of that. Although when it was first relaunched, I cannot remember. Paul Cooperberg, I think, was the writer, and the much missed Steve Lytle was the artist when
oh
it was
yeah.
relaunched. Hmm.
All right.
So, what are we on here? So that was it. That was issue 60, right? I mean,
Yes.
it basically Hal shows up and things go, pear shaped at that point, which is Pretty much par for the course at this point, right?
Yes. Pear shaped as opposed to next week when it goes parallax shaped.
Shaped, exactly.
Call the exterminator. We got a bug. All right. All right, let's get to this next one. JSA number 61 from July 2004, Redemption Part 2. Writer Jeff Johns, pencilers. Here we go. Tom Mandrake does the first 3 pages, and Don Kramer does the rest of them. Oh, Tom Mandrake also inked his pages also, so
Very cool.
pencil and inks, yeah. Looks like almost the same, except letterer's Jared K. Fletcher. I think we got a new letterer, so. All right. 7 years ago, the Flash drops off Fiddler with the police and races to a meeting between the JLA and the JSA and is interrupted by Spirit King. The villain possesses him, and when he arrives at the Justice League satellite, he murders Mr. Terrific. In the present, Spirit King has returned and taunts Dr. Midnight, Mr. Terrific, and Spectre with their mortality. The trio retreat and are accosted by a group of zombies. At Cross Clinic, Nightlight guides Our Man Rex Tyler and Wildcat to the lab to craft up Miraclo. They're attacked by the zombies as well, and as they become overwhelmed, Green Lantern and Power Girl appear as reinforcements. Father Kramer arrives to counsel the Spectre, and Spirit King possesses the body of the Flash again. I'm always worried, like when we were doing the Spectre issues, I was like, is this Green Lantern enough? But I'm like, Hal Jordan's here. Alan Scott is here. I'm like, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We're good.
So, yeah, what do you think? So, yes, how Jay Garrick gets possessed a second time.
And that's a callback to number 171 of the original Justice League series.
Ooh, nice.
Where you had, the traditional JSA, JLA crossovers, and that's what happened. Mr. Terrific gets killed by, gets killed by the Flash, who was possessed by the Spirit King. So, pretty cool callback. Someone obviously knows his, Justice League history, which is cool, and Justice Society history.
Yeah, I think Jeff Johns knows it, kind of his history, just like he's like Mark Waid Jr.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this was the second part of the story, and things go from bad to worse. And the art's great, story's great. It's interesting that I don't know. They make Hal, really powerless, during these first 2 issues.
Oh, yeah.
And then, they force him to make a decision in the 3rd issue about which I think is okay, because I've always felt like, since we read the Spectre series by J.M. DeMatteis, that Rebirth just ignored it.
Yeah.
But Johns did not ignore it. He actually took care of it before the series started. So, he's not necessarily invalidating that it happened. It's just that he wanted to move the Spectre to a place where, he needed the Spectre to be at that point. So I feel better now after having read this, knowing that it wasn't just shoved off to the side, ignored, that it was actually dealt with, in continuity as, yes, it happened.
See, I mean, it doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter except the guys like us, like continuity nerds. But it's just like, do you think in Rebirth would it have been better if he would have had Hal just throw in a line where it's like, oh yeah, things between me and the Spectre haven't been the same since that adventure with the JSA or whatever?
Maybe I think he gives us everything that we need to know, and I think it's written more for people that maybe haven't read that JSA story, or maybe hadn't read the Spectre by J.M. DeMatteis, so that hey, this is the classic Spectre. We're back to him being Spirit of Vengeance. We're going to go old school, vengeance on Black Hand. In case of emergency, break glass, right?
Yeah. And again, we'll get to it next week, but I think Rebirth is like a perfect. It's like, well, it's a good story for the old fans, especially.
Oh yeah.
you Hal Jordan
Me.
fanboys, but also it's a good jumping on point where it's just like it's literally day one of the new era. Again, that's like the dividing line for me. I'm like, okay, there's everything before Rebirth and after Rebirth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's we were talking about Reddit earlier. That's a lot of people will show up in Reddit saying, "Hey, I've never read Green Lantern before. Where should I start?" Or actually, they'll say, "I've never read Green Lantern before. Where should I?" Jeff Johns. Where Jeff Johns? Jeff Johns. Start with Rebirth. That's grab. Whoops, wrong side. Grab the 3 big omnibus of Jeff Johns on Green Lantern and start reading there. I
was about to say it's like unless you want to do a 30-year reboot, like you could start with the Cow era, but it's like even if you start at Rebirth, that's still almost 20 years.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like it.
I know. And the cool thing about I would say start with Rebirth, but I would also say include Green Lantern Corps because there's some really good stuff going on in Green Lantern Corps, and we're going to get to that, because it's we get Hal mainly, I think, it's supposed to be Hal and John, in the main book, but it's really more Hal's book.
Mm-hmm.
John doesn't do a whole lot, and then the core is where we get Kilowog, we get Salak, we get Guy, we get Kyle, and we get some really good stories, and we get Hal and John showing up over there too. And then when it becomes, and that's the Green Lantern Corps, it's not Rebirth.
Recharge or whatever?
Recharge, yeah. Green Lantern Corps Recharge. I think it's like a 5-issue series, and then they get their ongoing after that, which is about a year before Sinestro Corps War. And this might be controversial, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Yes, Blackest Night is good. It's a massive undertaking, right? You've got all those 3-issue limited series, you've got the 8-issue series itself, plus you've got everything that's going on in Green Lantern Corps. It's a massive thing. I think I'm of the opinion, and we're going to get to this, so I'll get to see. At this point, having not read it in a while, having not read either in a while, I feel like Sinestro Corps War is better than Blackest Night. I don't know. We'll see. But I do remember loving. I mean, I love Blackest Night too, but Sinestro Corps War is just freaking awesome. So.
Well, and two, is it just because Sinestro Corps War is more like classic Green Lantern stuff, and it's not all zombies and.
Well, and it's also, I think, more focused because as just a Green Lantern event, there's some specials, and then there's Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, and that's where this thing, this really focused event takes place. There's some event sprawl, I think, within Blackest Night. You don't have to read those limited series, but if you want to get the whole picture, you need to read those limited series, right? And so I don't know. Sinestro Corps War is really where Jeff Johns' run starts super, super strong with Rebirth. And then we get the regular ongoing, Volume 4. Everything gets kicked up to like 11. We're going to turn it up to 11 with Sinestro Corps War.
Oh, yeah.
And then they keep turning it up, after that.
No, I'm just looking at the schedule for upcoming. Yes, wait, where I just saw it. Yes, the 6-issue Green Lantern. Oh wait, no. Yes, the 6-issue Green Lantern Recharge will be episode 122. So.
Oh, okay. So just about five episodes from now. Cool. Very cool.
There, so yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, I really think that this was so like I said, obviously the meta reason for this is to reset Hal and the Spectre.
Yes.
But we got a good story around it. We got what was going on in JSA at the time with Mr. Terrific and with Our Man and we got Power Girl and Star Girl and all of the Flash and Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott. It's definitely a good story, and it did what it needed to do to get Hal and the Spectre where they needed to be for Rebirth. So
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you included it because I'd never read it. I'm gonna have to go find these issues.
I think I have it in trade because I think I might have read this like once when I bought the trade, but well, yeah. Well, I think we're both looking and we're like, Spectre shows up here. We better put it on the list. But yeah, it had been a long time since I read this. Like I said, I think I might only read this like once. But yeah, I'd forgotten most of this story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is good. All right. All right. Should I do the last one so we can talk this thing as a whole?
You bet.
All right. Will's like, whatever gets me closer to next week.
Am I that obvious? Yeah, I am
All
that
right.
obvious.
All right, JSA. He's like the only redeeming factor this week is Hal Jordan. It's Hal Jordan. All right, JSA number 62, August 2004, Redemption Lost Part 3. So yeah, same team as last one. Yes, Tom Mandrake once again doing the first three, penciling and inking the first three pages. In 1940, Jim Corrigan was given the spirit of vengeance and became the Spectre. Today, Hal Jordan is its host and is suffering from his desire to mete out mercy instead. The JSA fights a legion of zombies released by the Spirit King who has recently possessed the body of the Flash, who viciously assaults his teammates. Meanwhile, Father Kramer counsels Jordan to find a path between redemption and vengeance so he can reclaim the powers of the Spectre and banish the lost souls plaguing Portsmouth City. Once he gives in to vengeance, he easily reclaims the vicious souls and leaves. In Cross Clinic, Dr. Midnight struggles to save Mr. Terrific's life after the horrible beating he received. As Terrific hangs on by a thread, he has a vision of his dead wife, Paula. She shows him their unborn son who died with her and encourages him to return to Earth to complete his work there. He survives and joins Midnight at church during his recovery. In Hartford, Rex Tyler stands outside his former wife's home, unable to let her know that he has returned to Earth temporarily. A T-sphere probe extends into the time stream to find their son. In Gotham City, the Flash and Green Lantern seek out... Sorry, Ray, the chance is never zero. The Flash and Green Lantern seek out Batman's counsel.
Batman, my favorite character.
And tells them that the JLA will be there to stop Jordan if the JSA can't. Of course, to put the final pin in the story, we had to have Batman saying, "I will take him down if I have to."
Which is a great setup for Rebirth. I mean, it works so well.
Ray, I messaged you. I will message you again tonight to say next week that's going down. Ray, you want to read Green Lantern Rebirth, especially for the last issue.
It is, I think, bar none, the best executed reboot / rebuilding of a concept that has been done. It is that good. It's that top notch.
Oh yeah. Because I was gonna say, really, it's so weird because it's like Flash Rebirth kind of like set up the New 52, but it's like Barry Allen had already been back for like a year when they did Flash Rebirth, so it was like it wasn't like setting its stuff back up and
Yeah, it was. This is the one. I mean, it is. You look at every character's had a reboot or something, but this one was just done so well in a way that brought in old fans, brought in new fans, and then built out the mythology and the concept into something so much larger than it had ever been before, and made it so much. It brought it into sales territory that I don't know that it had seen since maybe Kyle, and maybe more than Kyle. I don't know, obviously, but I mean, Kyle was a big reason that the book was still around.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was it was probably the most it had to have been the most massive thing since like Kyle's debut. Yeah.
Definitely.
But
yeah.
and then we not only do you bring Hal Jordan again next week, but I mean, not only do you get Hal Jordan back, but I mean, we get the Green Lantern Corps as big and as bold as it's been. It hasn't been since what, the 80s.
Oh yeah, since before Crisis, or or immediately after Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a long time ago.
Oh yeah, even in 2004, 2005, it's like, yeah, the Corps hasn't been in this good a condition since 20
years
20
before.
years.
Yeah. And that's 40 years now. So we were 20.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh. So, oh God.
And it's really, I think, a testament to John's and his collaborators, because he didn't do it alone.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
had great artists working with him. Because a lot of the seeds, he planted seeds here in these issues for Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he planted more seeds in Rebirth, which is itself a good story. And then, those seeds would bear fruit in Sinestro Corps War, in Blackest Night, in Brightest Day, which, we'll get to. I don't think I ever finished reading that one, so that'll be good. And then, War of the Green Lanterns, Wrath of the First Land. He's got so many great, overarching stories throughout his run that, we've said it before and we'll say it again, not even the power of the New 52 could touch Green Lantern because nothing changed.
Seriously, Green Lantern was like as protected as Batman at that point. I mean, come on.
Batman.
But
my favorite character.
With the relaunch of New 52, we got, of course, there was an ongoing Green Lantern Corps. We got a Red Lanterns book, right? We got a New Guardians book with Kyle, as a White Lantern. It wouldn't be too long before there would be a Sinestro book, a Larfleeze book. I mean, it's the foundation for that run. Really, the first brick of it is probably in these issues.
Oh yeah,
by Jeff Johns, which is really cool.
And that synopsis to even bring up, I mean, we can tell the shift, the swing in the Spectre. I mean, literally by the Spectre eats the Spirit King.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, this is JMD Mateus the Spectre.
No, which still needs to be collected, by the way. Thank you, DC Comics. Please do that.
Oh my God, if they really wanted to go cosmic and trippy, I mean, I'm surprised Grant Morrison didn't do this. But you could all of a sudden have Helen show up, be like, "Why did you forget me?" And it's just like, what?
What? He actually, Morrison had Hal become kind of the Spectre between heartbeats. He kind of temporarily died-ish for a second or two before he was brought back, but they had him out I think it was an issue of season 2. I think it was season 2. I'd have to go back and look. It's been a while since I've reread those Morrison issues.
Yeah, I gotta reread this too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, my wife is like, what? I said, we're going to talk about Rebirth next week. She's like, what? I'm like, well, yes, there's great scenes. Well, okay, my favorite scene, bar none, in Rebirth, and we'll get there next week, is when we've just had the great reintroductions of all the GLs. How Kilowog is different than Guy, is different than John, is different than Kyle, and they have just gone down, and Hal's the only one left. And Parallax basically said, quit, damn you. And he says, I don't know how. I freaking love that.
Speaking of your wife, I would like to apologize to her because for the next week, you're going to be talking in your sleep. Hal Jordan's coming back.
Rebirth. Parallax.
I get to read it for the 500th time.
I'm going to have to ask her nicely to read it just so she'll know what I'm talking about. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, do it. Do it. Then I've been trying to get my wife to read comics. I'll be like, read this. Why? Well, Will's wife's reading it.
So we'll have something to talk about. But yeah, this was a nice little setup. I mean, it was a good little story, and I think it has more involvement with Rebirth than I'd ever realized. So it's cool that we got to do it.
And I'm just waiting for Ray's feedback. We'll get like a 10-minute feedback on like the one page from issue 6.
He punched Batman, my favorite character now.
That's right. That's what he deserves.
Into the Dark Knight, all to do with Batman.
Ray will go nuts. He sees that. But yeah,
No, I mean,
I'd kind of forgotten too that Jeff Johns kind of set that up. Like I said, I think I read this arc like maybe once, and then I haven't been back to it since. But
yeah, and I think I probably have the issues. I don't know if I ever read them, or if maybe I did. I don't remember reading them. So yeah, it's interesting because that gets back to, I don't know, were we talking with I can't remember where we were talking about this, but DC, that makes DC feel like much more of a shared universe, right? Where all these characters are interacting, whereas now maybe they don't. They just whatever, they're off on their own.
I mean, it's good inclusion because it's like sometimes it just seems like, even if it doesn't make sense, it's like, oh, hey, Batman shows up, or hey, Superman shows up, just for the hell of it, not that it makes sense. Here, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Spectre has history with the JSA, and again, Jeff Johns is, setting this up for Rebirth, and just, and Alan could be someone, that Hal might come to for help,
Exactly. And it, and even the little setups with Batman, with Alan, all get paid off in Rebirth. I mean, and they're here, and then boom, set them up and then pay it off in the big book, which is really good. I mean, Johns is he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, and he had been working, like you said, he had been working on Rebirth for like a year already at this point. So I wondered, like, he knew all those points were in there. So he's like, yeah, let me write this JSA story, and he knows he's gonna pay. He already knows he's already paid it off. So he's just like, yeah, it's in.
Nice, very nice. So yeah, I mean, good job. I'm glad you included these. Bravo.
Oh, he's really going to pay me that compliment next week. I'm really so glad you've included it.
I may read let's see, can we see it over there? I've got the absolute Green Lantern Rebirth. And then next to it is the absolute Green Lantern Sinestro Corps War, so.
That's the only question, kids. Which in which form will he
format?
Yes, which format will he read Rebirth?
Because up there is my Green Lantern shelf. You can't see it, but I've got all the hardcovers from the Rebirth through New 52. I think I don't think I have a lot of the New 52 hardcovers, so I'm still working on those. But yeah,
I don't know whether to read it on the app or I have the original issues just to crack open the original issues.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh,
it's gonna be a
good week. You've only been telling me for 117 weeks.
And it may be a long episode, like last week's episode was a long episode.
I'm planning on a long episode next week. Six issues. You're gonna be gushing all over all of them. No, I know.
And speaking of last week, I thought that was a really awesome episode that we had. I mean, with Ron Mars and then with Dan, just talking about the Kyle Rayner run and how Mars really is the definitive Green Lantern writer for volume 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that there's any doubt because he really defines that entire era of Green Lantern. We have another writer who shall not be named, but
Well, yeah,
it's Mars.
It's like just the quality of his storytelling. Plus, I think he was probably the writer on more issues than anyone else in Volume 3. So again,
yeah,
quantity
definitely.
and quality. So
Yep, absolutely.
but yeah, that was fun. Either one of them would have made a great episode, but they were both on, which made it even better.
Yep, I agree.
So let's pat ourselves on the back.
Bravo.
Again,
So thank you.
Again, good job. Hey, you brought Dan to me, so good job there.
So thank you, Mr. Ron Mars, and thank you, Dan, from Mosaic Comics for hanging with us last week. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, check out Mosaic Comics on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, all right.
Are we done?
I guess so.
All right.
There's nothing left.
I usually do it, but Will, if people have been paying attention for the last 50 minutes, what are we doing next week?
It's a little story, a little limited series, called Green Lantern Rebirth with Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner and Kilowog and Guy Gardner and John Stewart and Ganthet and the Justice Society and the Justice League and the Spectre, and it's freaking awesome.
And Batman with Hal Jordan's knuckles on his face.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
Absolutely.
What's the theme?
Well, you froze for a second. Hey,
yeah. I and then you blinked. Yeah, it's kind of weird. No, I said, the theme of next week.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
That is going to be a pretty excellent theme.
That's right. All right, kids. So yes, I know Will's going to have plenty of thoughts, but you send your thoughts on Green Lantern Rebirth, because I know you people have thoughts. And of course, Ray, I know you're going to send your thoughts on one page. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find everything Capes and Lunatics, videos, social media, merchandise, the Patreon, all of it at tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. It's always in the show notes. All right, Will, number one, Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Rebirth fanboy. Where can people find you? And oh, hey, what's that big thing you had going on this week?
The Kickstarter? Yeah, that's right. You can find me at Walred. That's at WALLRED. And that's at Gmail and Twitter and Facebook and probably other social media that I forgot I set up. And as Phil said, we launched the Kickstarter for Crossover Division Volume 1, Fictions and Other Truths. It's a oversized hardcover that collects the first 4 issues, has a bonus 8-page story in it. And we launched that about 10 hours ago, and we're doing pretty well on Kickstarter right now. So that's a relief. But if you want to check out Kickstarter, if you want to check out Crossover Division, you can go to crossoverdivision.com. And if you want to go directly to the Kickstarter, you can go to crossoverdivision.com/KS for Kickstarter, or just crossoverdivision.com/Kickstarter will take you directly to it. So yeah, and if you want to check out other work that I've done, you can check out Diary of Night at diaryofnight.com. And like I say regularly, Phil is not the only podcaster I annoy on a weekly basis. The other person would be Kevin Joseph, the writer of Tart. Together, he and I co-host a show called Explain Yourself, where we bring on comic crowdfunding creators, primarily Kickstarter, because that's where most indie comics are these days, but that doesn't have to be Kickstarter. And we have them talk about their project to get more eyeballs on, indie comics on Kickstarter and other crowdfunding platforms. And finally, you all obviously have great taste because you're here watching and or listening to us, which means you love Quasar too, maybe almost as much as we do. And if you'd like to find out more about Quasar, you can do that at the Quantum Zone, quantumzone.org.
I'll put it in my navel.
He goes limp in my grip. I am God. I blew that. Jordan.
All right, kids. I can't believe it. Next week, we've been building up to it for 117 weeks. Green Lantern Rebirth, the greatest, Will Allred's favorite story in any form of fiction.
Ooh, I don't know. Cosmos
Maybe
and
in
Collision is
Maybe
really
in
good.
comics. Maybe in comics.
Well, Cosmos and Collision, Quasar story.
Maybe.
Ooh,
Okay. Will
that's
Allred's
tough.
favorite DC story.
There you go.
Okay. Yes. Will Allred's favorite DC comic story. All right, kids. Come back next time. And remember, make nice with your spirit of vengeance. Who knows when you're passing into a divorce. Good night.